Everybody says to write clean code and respect clean code principles so your code will become more understandable and concise. But the reality is that actually in most of the times it ruins your code and it kinda makes it more non-readable. So should you really write clean code, and is it that good? When it comes to naming variables using white spaces and stuff like that, it's certainly a great idea to write clean code. But today we're talking about things like single responsibility principles, function sizes, and more. So fasten your seatbelt and let me show you the truth no one tells you about. Single responsibility principle. You've probably heard about it as it is the first principle of Solid. It says that each class should have only one reason to change, but there's literally no explanation of what constitutes a reason or a change. Is bug fixing a change? Well, it clearly is. The code changes. Is bug a valid reason to change? Either bug fixing is a good reason and it becomes the one and only reason to change, or bug fixing is not a good reason and the principle must allow for changes without good reason. Even if we identify one and only one reason to change, there is no concept of a good or bad reason in the principle. Can we concentrate a whole search engine in a single class simply because we can flatly state that its responsibility is to find the documents most relevant to a query? Every developer has their vision of the class purpose, which makes things tricky. Since we don't have strict instructions on how to implement this principle, we are left with our interpretations of what the responsibility will be. Uncle Bob in his book tells us in the chapter 2 that we have to use verbs for methods names. For example, get users, set user, delete user, and so on. And I completely agree with that idea, as I believe it makes your code more readable and easier to understand. But in the same book, in a chapter about unit testing, the author provides this example of an awful unit test that doesn't respect clean code rules, and he proudly refactors the test to this, and I was like, okay, what the hell is this? Which is to say nothing of the method named waitToCalled. This is an adjective phrase. It's entirely unclear what this method does. And even if you guess correctly that calling waitToCalled sets the temperature to be waitToCalled, there's no way that you could guess that it also calls controller.tick. So clean code authors get tangled in their own rules and they aren't able to apply them. Clean code suggests not writing comments, but why the hell wouldn't I add comments to my code? The clean code says that comments lie but code doesn't, and that's somehow true. The comments may say that the method calculates the taxes for a product, but it actually calculates it wrong. So it's better to read code instead of comments. However, I still think that comments are a way to help other developers comprehend their code and expand it. Sometimes a developer may not be sure about what a certain piece of code does, but the comment may help him to understand its logic behind and what exactly it does. You can still read the code if you want to be sure that the method does what it says. In conclusion, you have to write your code as simply as you can. Pick suitable names for your classes, methods, and fields, and never use clean code blindly.